Welcome back, welcome back. We have with us Kelly Bertrand and Heather Powell with us here today. And Kelly works at the Twin Lakes Literacy Council, and you from time to time bring some of your students here to talk about some success stories.
I do. We have a bunch of wonderful students, and I wish Kelly were one of my students, but she's not. But she's here to tell us her story, I think.
Well, let's talk about you for a second. I talked to you a little bit before the show, and you told me some things that are familiar to me because going through the school system, for people that have a learning disability, you are probably the last person to know that you have one, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So you went through how many grades of school before somebody told you that you may have a learning disability?
Well, some of my learning disabilities I knew when I was younger.
You had an idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what were some of those things that you knew?
They called us CD, it was chemical disbalance. They said that we couldn't retain information.
Okay.
I was in a special ed class. They told us that we would not be basically able to go to college because we could not retain
the information that was in there. So retaining information is one of the basic functions that people really need when they're out in the world and they have to interact. You have to remember things and grab that information. But they said you would never function in the real world as far as that goes.
At that time, they didn't know what ADHD was.
Yeah. As we know it is attention deficit syndrome now.
And I had that.
Yeah.
And I had many others, and I have just recently found out I was dyslexic.
Yeah. Is there different, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say dyslexic, that's one that you didn't know when you were younger and you learned that as an adult, and that probably affected all of the other learning that you were doing as a younger person.
I was at a third grade reading level when I came here 6 years ago. I sought help at the literacy group for Robert because his grades started going down.
And Robert's your son?
Yes, Robert's
Yeah.
my sophomore.
Yeah.
You know Robert, he's a great kid.
Yeah.
And I learned that they had adult reading and stuff, and I said, you know what, I can read at third grade. I have a hard time keeping a job and all, you know, it's hard being a mom that has at that time, I think he was in 6th grade, and I couldn't help him with his homework because I'm at third grade level.
Sure, yeah.
And so I wanted help. I wanted to seek help.
Yeah.
Well, they set me up with a system called the Bertrand system.
Okay.
And I thought it was hooked on phonics. Well, guess what? It's more than hooked on phonics. And I learned while I was being on the Bertrand system with my tutor that's very positive, Leslie Floyd, very encouraging, that I found out I'm very dyslexic. And the program has a board where they put tiles, and I'm a visual learner. So because I'm a visual learner, these tiles had helped me go very far in a short period of time. In a year and a half, I had went up from a third grade to about an 8th, 9th grade, and I'm at a 9th, 10th grade right now in level 7. There's 10 levels, and I've been there 2.5 years.
Wow. Now, how does that affect you now? I mean, you say you went from third to what grade was it? 9th grade?
In a year and a half, I went to about 8th, 9th grade.
So you could pick up any book and read at that level without any special aids. Now, I think we had a photo of those tiles, and I want to try to bring that up if we could. Our director's back there looking at it right now. But it's something very simple, and I guess it has to be simple to get the concept over to people. Now, what do you do when you? What happens when you're looking at the tiles?
It's just like a movie. Like I can watch a movie, and I'll remember that movie.
Yeah.
You know how I was saying earlier that they said I couldn't retain information? Well, they are wrong. I can
You just had to
retain
figure a different way to
information by picturing it.
Okay.
So with the tiles, it's more picturing. A lot of it's a lot of picturing the stuff. It's not reading, you know, and you have to.
This
Yes.
is it.
There we
Yeah.
go.
And that's a basic layout. And what do you do with those tiles?
She reads in my tutor, Miss Leslie, reads in her book, and she puts the tiles different, the words, and we have rules. We have floss rules and stuff, and that helps me just learn better.
It gets past the disability.
Okay, before I would not pick up a book. I could not pick up my Bible because I could not read it. I
Yeah,
was
right.
afraid to read it.
Mhm.
I was afraid to speak in front of people. Now I can pick up pretty much any book and I'm not afraid to read in church. It's
Yeah.
helped me a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, I see dreams coming true that I never thought could come true. Some of them already have been coming true because
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be a speaker and I've been guest speaker for different things.
Cool.
I'm student of the year. Just so much has happened and I've always wanted to be a writer. Now that's possible.
Nice.
So I went from a very low self-esteem to a very high self-esteem. I help a lot in town. I volunteer also with the literacy. They're trying to get me to be a tutor.
Wow, going from
recruit me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's great, Kelly.
Well, Kelly, tell us about this. What's some of the things at the Literacy Council that helps people? Tell us about your organization.
The Twin Lakes Literacy Council, we teach reading, we teach language, we teach adult education materials, helping people get ready for taking the GED. We teach English as a second language, and that has been growing. I don't know if you're aware of it, but our international population in this area is really growing. And we also do some basic computer skills.
Are you able, on the computer, to apply the methods that you're learning? Do they transfer to the computer?
I'm just getting on Windows 8. I'm learning Windows 8
Okay.
because I bought a laptop and stuff so I can go into writing. But no, a lot of my stuff that it just really has opened doors for me to read better. I get a certain kind of test that I take, and it shows how much I've gone up in the words. Like I'll have to read different words, and I do that so often. And Miss Nancy, every time she hears, she's like, wow, you know. And I think it's because of how positive they are, and we need more tutors that are very positive there, and there's kids and adults, you know, that there's a line right now. So I am trying to get further along so I can be helped too, because it showed them how much
So you're
they
going to
had
tutor?
helped me.
So you're going to make that decision to help tutor?
You heard it live right here.
Yeah, I'm trying to feel a little bit more comfortable
Yeah.
because I'm at level 7, but that's one of my goals is to get to level 10 and
Yeah.
feel real comfortable and
Yeah.
then start tutoring.
You said you wanted to be a writer. Is there do you want to write poetry or do you want to write stories? What do you want to do?
I've got a lot of good ideas that are
I
jumping
bet
out of my
you've
head.
I bet you've got a lot of ideas up there.
One's about ADHD, to try to do like a biography on ADHD.
Your personal story?
Well, mine and living with Robert, he's ADHD too, and just seeing it from both sides. And there's ADHD is a very big topic,
It is a big topic.
and I want to do like a story kind of thing, but I also want to have like a workbook that would show parents, you know, to be patient, write things down. Sometimes the kids really can't take that information. They think when, like I say, well, you know, take that cup, put it in the sink, then go clean your room. ADHD kids have a hard time taking all that information in, so they won't do all of it.
Yeah.
If you write it down,
They can
if
see
you
as
write
a-
it down, put
yeah.
1, 2, and have them check it off, I've
Yeah.
seen Robert do a lot better with that than me
Yeah.
telling him.
And that's really cool because, you know, we were talking about when you were younger, the evaluation of you said that you will never be able to function to retain that information. That's all changed, I'm sure. You know, we can all learn and we can all find steps and tips and techniques on how to do that by writing the list. I mean, that's just one simple thing. And you may help other people with that, with the book that you want to write.
Yeah, and I want other people like me to, you know, I'm almost 40 years old, not give up on their dreams.
Sure.
Because I could have gave up on my dreams. I had a lot of negative in my life. And through the positive, it shows you that your dreams can open no matter what age. Don't let anybody tell you you're dumb. Don't let anybody put you down. And it's really been a blessing, and they've really been my light. They've been a light,
good.
and they open doors. They've opened many doors, and I have a lot that I have been through. I've been on the streets. I have a lot of stories. I'm from Chicago. I am, and just being able one day to write that all down.
Absolutely.
When I had people tell me that I'm retarded, that I never get anywhere, and I'm bringing up a son by myself.
Yeah. That's a
and-
hard life.
It's a very hard life.
Us living a nice laid back existence. We don't know.
No,
but,
we don't
yeah.
think about this.
She's been through a battle.
more than one.
But you're going to win the
Yeah.
war. It's just a small battle. You're going to win the war, and it's nice to meet you and nice to know that you're going to take your life and turn it around for a positive.
And I want to be a teacher in my church. I go to the Salvation Army, and I like working with the kids, and I'm in a women's group there and a lot, and they even seen my reading, and they're like, wow, and I want to teach someday. And
Yeah,
So-
self-confidence will take you at places where when you don't have any self-esteem whatsoever, you are stuck, you'll never move, and you'll be beaten down. But you have surpassed that, and that's a great message to all of our
And-
audience members.
And
out
what an
there.
example to set for Robert.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Such a testimony, truly, to not giving up and not to let anyone else influence what you can and cannot do. Good for you.
Yeah, good for you.
And
Wonderful.
Another thing with Robert is Robert's very bright. So at times it was really hard with Robert being, I told him, you don't have a memory loss. I have a short-term memory too, that I can forget something like that. And my son is just so bright. I tell him all the time, you're so bright. And yeah, with him being so smart, it was hard to help him with the stuff that's going. But now he's struggling a little because
Yeah.
we found out he has a reading disability, but I'm seeing now that my reading's better, I could do some of it. Before I wouldn't have been able to help him at all.
Well, I know that there's some of the most influential people in the world in our lifetime have been dyslexic. So it's not really a matter of what they aren't, it's about finding out who they are, and you're doing that.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing for us. Kelly, can you tell us how people can get a hold of you if they'd like to be a part of anything that you do there?
Sure. Our telephone number is 425-7323. Call and ask for Nancy, and if you want to volunteer, if anybody is really wanting to volunteer, we have an orientation this Friday. Call Nancy right
Okay.
away and tell her. And then we have some upcoming tutor trainings. We have one for the Barton reading program. That one's coming up on the 31st of this month, so next Friday. Is that next Friday? Yes, next Friday.
Yes.
February
31st would be a Saturday.
Yeah, I think it is Saturday.
Then maybe,
Oh, I'm sorry, the first is Saturday, you're right.
okay,
31st
31st is
yes.
Friday. Then the 13th and 14th, we are doing an English Forward training program. That is a 2-day training on the new English as a Second Language program. And many of the techniques that I teach in that class translate over to other disciplines.
Do you have to have any skills to be a tutor? I mean, just a desire to do it, or do you have to have any
Desire,
education?
dedication. For the Barton reading program, there's one little hearing test. You just have to be able to hear the differences between a few sounds.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
But you're always needing volunteers.
We
I'm
always
sure,
need
and-
volunteers, and if you know anybody who needs tutoring in reading, in language, in math, or computers, please refer them to us, give us a call, bring them in.
Okay.
We want to help anybody who needs the help.
Well, thanks a lot for being here. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you very much, and
Nice to see you
yeah,
again.
Yes.
I've known her,
Thanks
It's
so
nice
much.
to see you again.
Thanks again.
Thanp you.
Thank you.
We'll take a break, and when we come back, Deborah Edmonds is here. She's going to be talking about a program called 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten.
Before kindergarten.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
talk
wow.
about that in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
So nice to see you. Tell Robert hello.
Sorry, I couldn't hold back the tears.